Hi guys, I just filmed my story about my daughter Lainey. So the next vlog that I wanted to do is dealing with a pregnancy after having a loss, a stillbirth or a miscarriage. Like I've said previously, I consider my daughter Lainey as a stillbirth because she was almost 18 weeks and I had to deliver her, and she wasn't like a fully formed little person, so it's up to an individual, I think, to make a decision what they want to call things, but that's fine for me. I guess yeah, I tell people that I've had 2 stillbirths. So after we had Lainey on the 23rd of February, like I'd said in my last vlog in her story, that we tried to conceive straight away. And you know, I think when I look back, it was partly to try and there was lots of reasons, but I had a hole in my heart and in my belly too where she should have been, and we had planned a child and we were excited for a child and we were grieving, and it's a natural instinct and feeling that you want to conceive another child. Well, that was it for me, and not having ever experienced something like that before, I didn't question that. I felt that it helped me with the grieving process, but I really underestimated how hard that would be. I guess there was some main things that were natural. I was obviously very nervous, very anxious, worried something else would happen again because we didn't have any answers. I had many scans with Evie. They were checking her heart, a lot to do with her heart, because obviously, like I'd said, that my last child who'd passed away, after she was born, they had found out she'd passed away and did the scan. Her heart, the chambers had collapsed. So that's what they had nothing else to go on, I guess. So they were just making sure that Evie's heart was okay. Just everything, checking, being extra cautious. I think I had probably 10 scans at least. Yeah, so myself, I decided, well, actually a friend of mine, my children's stepmom gave me a Doppler, and it helped my sanity. With Evie, we found out again at 12 weeks that she was a girl, and everything was looking great. You know, I remember the day, you know, we had all those normal early scans and then some extra scans and everything was going perfect. But in my mind, I was thinking, well, everything went perfect with our last child, and the 12-week scan, everything was perfect. So I did not feel reassured even at that 12-week, 13-week scan. I just thought, yeah, we knew everything was perfect last time, so there's no guarantees. Okay, great. So it was a lot of anxiety, a lot of, I did experience like minor panic attack a couple of times, just had to go have a scan. So, yeah, I ended up going to see a psychologist through that pregnancy to help with the anxiety and the stress of everything. So I started feeling Evie the same time as my other children, around that 13 to 14 weeks. So that did give me some reassurance, and then having the Doppler helped a lot. As soon as I got past that sort of 18 week when we'd lost Lainey, I did feel a little bit better, a little bit more relieved, but you just carry that stress with you, and because it was so close, I was only had a few months in between Lainey's birth and passing and then being pregnant again. I was grieving at the same time as being pregnant and trying to bond with another child. And I then, through my own thoughts and experiences and also talking with a psychologist, I realised something that I don't think you realise until you go through it, that yes, they're separate people. Like Lainey was a separate baby, I wanted another baby, and then I had Evie, but having Evie did not replace Lainey, and it helped to a degree, but I didn't give myself time to grieve Lainey properly. I just went straight into the next pregnancy. So I think that's why it was extra hard for me, because it was just so much emotion. You know, I don't know whether a lot of people, whether it's a natural thing, people just want to try again, and I think you feel like you haven't lost everything. That's how I would explain it. You wanted a baby, you were prepared for a baby, you deserve a baby, so it is a natural thing. So basically, that whole time, that whole 9 months was really hard. I found it hard to bond a little bit with it. I tried, I guess I kept myself at a little bit of a distance trying to bond with Evie, because I was worried something was going to happen, and it was on a subconscious level. Like, I'd talk to her, and it's not like I was like numb to her or anything, nothing like that, but it wasn't like my other pregnancies. There was a difference there. And also I felt really guilty because I was just wishing that she was Lainey. I was wishing that I still had Lainey in my stomach. There was so many different thoughts and feelings that I did not anticipate at all. So yeah, seeing somebody and talking about it really helped, but really I was just counting down until Evie was out and safe, and yeah, she was healthy, everything was perfect up until 38 weeks. I started to get like, I had a lot of pre-labour, like sort of false labour, things like that, and then I ended up having low movement. I had to keep going in and out with low movement, so it was quite stressful, and I went up twice with low movement, and I was really worried because I'd be poking her and you know, sort of, and she wasn't responding. That was about 38 weeks, so we went up twice for that, and then I had some massive blood clots coming out a few days later, and I knew that wasn't right. I'd never experienced anything like that. So in the end, I was induced with Evie at 39 weeks. They couldn't explain why I was getting those blood clots coming out. And yeah, it turned out that after I was induced with her, the placenta was had started to sort of separate from itself, so that's where it was coming from. I knew, I listened to my instincts and knew that something was not right, and the doctors didn't want to take risks anyway, but I wouldn't have even let them dance around the fact that, oh, we're not really sure where it's coming from. I wanted her out. I was done with the stress of I just wanted her here, because everyone knows that like, if your placenta comes away, your baby can pass away in minutes. So there was so many things that I just, it was a really long journey. My mum and dad came for 6 months of the time. They were here, it must have been about 4 or 5 months pregnant, and then they stayed up until Evie was 3 weeks old, so that really helped to have the support there. So that was great. They had their caravan in the driveway for that time, and it was just, I just realised I was never going to experience pregnancy as I had known it before. You know, people could tell you just to relax and don't worry, and it's automatic. You know, you've been through such a horrible traumatic experience and lost a child, you cannot turn off that, you know, those feelings. And I remember I would go for a scan and see that she was okay, and then I'd be alright for a week or so, and then the thoughts start that something bad's going to happen again, something bad's going to, it's just, yeah, it's not a choice, you know. The Doppler was really good, saved me a lot of times from having a worry that, yeah, I could hear that she was okay, and then obviously once your baby's moving a lot, that's a reassurance. And the poor child, I used to poke her non-stop, you know, just, yeah, if she was quiet for a while, I used to poke her, wake up, tell me that you're okay, sort of thing. So after she was born, I remember it was like, I had my first epidural. Oh my God, amazing. Like being in, that was the first time I'd ever been induced. And it still happened quite quickly. I have quick labours, but the intensity was definitely way more intense. And I remember saying to Mark, I want an epidural, and he was like, you don't have epidurals. And I'm like, no, I'm having an epidural. So it was a really calming experience having Evie's birth. Like, wow, I was like, why do people not do this all the time? I'd had 3 natural, you know, births, and then obviously Lainey's birth, you know, was induced and was a natural birth in a sense as well. Never experienced, oh my God, I was like talking and relaxed, and it was amazing. So, but after she was born, yeah, it was weird. I of course I loved her from the moment I saw her, but I felt so bad because I looked at her and I just thought, I just wish you were Lainey. I was still grieving, I guess, and you know, that might sound bad, but I did. It took me a few days. I don't know. Mark was great. He bonded with her, but for me, I don't know. I was still like holding her and loving her and things, but it was like, it was just a difference like I'd never experienced. But I just felt guilty because I just thought to myself that if I could change it, I would change. I would have Lainey, wish you were Lainey, and swap in a second. And I guess those are natural thoughts. I don't know, but it wasn't long, and you know, a few days, and I had bonded with her properly. And but I remember, I think I was home about a week or two, and Mum and Dad were still here, and I was still crying over Lainey. I was holding this beautiful new baby girl, and I was still crying over my daughter that I'd lost. So I think I definitely didn't give it enough time. I didn't give Lainey time to grieve her properly. But I didn't know any different. I just did what felt right, and you know, that because you do have a massive hole, and you're in a lot of pain when you lose a baby. And if there's anything that you think you can do to try and like lessen that, you do it. And that was what I did. But it was definitely really hard to be grieving and pregnant at the same time, such a short space of time. So, you know, I don't regret it, obviously, but I learn a lot from it, and those lessons I have taken now and put in place with losing our son, which I'm going to be doing very soon. Jack's story, because after we had Lainey, we lost a little boy. And if you've watched some of my other videos, you already know that's why my channel's called ForLainey&Jack. Yeah, so basically I'm 3.5 months out, almost 4 months out from losing him. And if I rewind to this time 2.5 years ago, I was already pregnant. So we're not doing that this time. There's part of me that wants to, but it's just too hard. It's way too hard. And that child that you've lost deserves the time to grieve properly, and I think you do, you know, even though you might want to try again. But, you know, I think it's a personal decision. I'm not telling anybody that it's wrong to try again straight away, because it definitely has its positives. Yeah, we had a beautiful little girl in our arms, and she was healthy, and our dream was fulfilled. You know, when we were trying for Lainey, we wanted another child, and we were ripped off. We were put through a horrible experience, and you know, part of me thought, well, we deserve another child. We wanted another child. We're ready for another child. So that was my logic, I guess, at the time, and it helped with that hole in my heart. But I quickly learnt that there was still a hole for Lainey. She's a separate person. So yeah, so I've had a lot of time to be able to grieve her. I miss her a lot still. She's very, very special to me, and I know it sounds silly, but I feel like Lainey chose Evie. Like, Evie's the most amazing child. So like, she just we call it the Evie effect. She has this Evie effect over people. She's such a beautiful soul. She was such a good baby, and she was the first one of my children that ever would sleep, and just is such a soft, gentle nature, and she's magic, you know. And I always just, maybe it's something I just want to believe, but I feel that Lainey knew that I needed her. I definitely needed a baby that slept. Give me yeah, sort of a bit more rest, and I don't know, I just, in lots of ways, I just think that she was chosen by her sister in heaven. So that was my experience in regards to having a baby after a loss. I learnt lots of things, and yeah, I'd really like to hear from anybody who has had a pregnancy after a loss and their experiences, and good or bad, or anything, any questions in regards to that. Everyone obviously deals with things different. I'm sure there's some people out there who that was like the best thing they could have done to try again, and there's other people that probably weren't ready for years. Like, we're all so different, the way that we deal with things, but I definitely learnt a lot, and didn't expect a lot with having them close, those babies close together. So yeah, that's all for me today, and I'll chat again soon. Bye.